This is the multimedia presentation of Assignment 2 for EDC 1200 Semester 3. My name is Fiona Budd and my student number is D1113467. The assignment subject is How Might Education Mediate Difference and Dominance? The social issue I've selected to present is the formal apology by Prime Minister Kevin Rudd to the stolen generation on February 13, 2008. On the 13th of February 2008, Prime Minister Kevin Rudd formally apologised to members of the stolen generation at the first session of the new federal parliament. Members of the stolen generation were present in Parliament and in the gallery on that day. Thousands of people watched from large screens in public places throughout many Australian cities. Many members of the stolen generation stood outside Parliament House, supported by family and friends. Many wept openly and clapped and cheered when the words sorry were spoken. Prime Minister Rudd was apologising for the harmful past policies of the Australian government. The forced removal of Aboriginal children was official policy from 1909 to 1969. The removal of children was managed by the Aboriginal Protection Boards created in 1909. The board had the power to remove children without a court order and without parent consent. It was believed that half-caste children removed from their families might assimilate into white society and through procreation with white spouses might lose all Aboriginality by the third generation. Families were ripped apart as children were removed from their siblings, parents and the communities from where they came. Children were placed in government or religious-based institutions. Some were even adopted out to white families. In 1937, the first Commonwealth State Conference on Native Welfare adopts assimilation as the national policy. The destiny of the natives of Aboriginal origin, but not of the full-bloods, lies ultimately in absorption, with a view to their taking their place in the white community on an equal footing with whites. In 1951, at the third Commonwealth State Conference on Native Welfare, assimilation is affirmed as the aim of native welfare measures. The Bringing Them Home report documents the devastating effect the child removal policies had on stolen children and their families. The report found that members of the stolen generation suffer higher rates of sexual abuse, maltreatment, dislocation of family life, poverty and hardship than other Aboriginal people. Many children placed with white families didn't find out about their background until later in life. One of the people interviewed for the report said, "A lot of people say that they don't know what exactly they are, whether white or black. Where exactly do they belong?" The impact on the stolen generation has also passed on to the next generation. Psychiatrist Dr. Jane McKendrick worked on the report and has observed that when Aboriginal people who were removed have their own families, they really have no idea how to parent in either the conventional Aboriginal or non-Aboriginal way. So their children are often removed from them, which sets up this terrible cycle which goes on for generations. It's almost 3 years now since the formal apology was announced, and more still needs to be done to close the gap between Aboriginal and non-Indigenous Australians. How can education mediate these differences in dominance? In what way, as educators, can we narrow the gap of the binary opposites of white and Aboriginal Australians? How can we include all those in various points of the racial axis? An awareness and acknowledgement of Aborigines, their history and culture, begins from the very earliest opportunity for learning and right throughout our adult lives. The ideas and activities which I've included to assist in the mediation of difference and dominance in the education setting can be used from preschool through to adult education settings. It's simply a matter of altering the material to suit the ability level of the students. To assist students of all ages to recreate a sense of where I come from, a family tree could be created. The family tree may be as simple as a child and their parents, or complicated and involved going back generations. Students might like to include national flags to indicate where their ancestors were born. Discussions and comparisons can be made to reveal who has come from convict ancestors, Aboriginal or European ancestry. This may be an opportunity to discuss the variety forms of families. An extension of this activity could be a Heritage Day where students bring food, use language, or dress in national costumes of some of their ancestors. Easily accessed library resources is a simple way to offer learning materials. There's a huge range of Aboriginal texts available, which at the preschool and infants level may include picture books, Dreamtime and contemporary stories. The book should be easily accessible for borrowing or browsing alongside standard texts in the classroom. For primary, high school or adult students, there is a large variety of texts available dealing with many aspects of Aboriginality. For example, Sally Morgan's My Place. The author writes of her quest to uncover her heritage as an Aborigine. Beyond Sorry and Call Me Mum deal with the issues surrounding being removed and then reuniting with families and the difficulties involved. These non-fiction texts will give students a vivid description of life through the eyes of someone removed and deprived of family, heritage and culture. TV programs, documentaries and movies are another excellent source of relevant information to educate students on the issue of difference and dominance. Deborah Mailman is an Aboriginal presenter on Play School. The program is aimed at preschool-aged children. If Indigenous actors are employed in these stereotypically white roles, children as young as 3 and 4 will see and accept the inclusion of Aboriginal faces on TV as the norm. Films and documentaries suitable for older students include Rabbit Proof Fence, The Fringe Dwellers, Lousy Little Sixpence and Samson and Delilah. These films demonstrate a variety of Aboriginal issues from our past history through to modern times. Class discussions and film reviews will promote interest and understanding of the issues raised. The Bringing Them Home report may be accessed and perused by educators and older students to understand the direction in which the federal government has been recommended to follow. Some of these recommendations have been achieved. However, a lot more remains to be done to achieve a harmonious community and nation. Through diverse supported learning environments, a broader understanding of what has happened to those marginalised in our nation's past can occur. It's our responsibility as educators to provide a platform for this to occur. Thank you for listening to my presentation.